Hiya folks, it's Nigel, Excellent Books. It's Thursday, so that's Poetry Thursday. This being my first Poetry Thursday, I thought I'd do something a little different, and we will go up into the loft and have a look at some of the poetry collections I've got, and then next week or the week after I shall pick and choose and have a ruminate and do a proper Poetry Thursday. So with no more of a ado, we shall go up into the loft. Let's take a walk. As normal, it's raining in England, so yeah, it's raining, isn't it? So I've had to jerry-rig a light for the other side. Excuse my face right in yours. Of the loft. Normally I go on that side, as you can see down there, which is my fiction and in the bottom, like my what would you call them, technical books. This is my maps and guidebooks for climbing and areas around the world that we want to visit. There we have, that's a bit bright, that light, but it's proper dark up here, so we'll just have to do amend, I'm afraid. We've got a little bookshelf here and a longer bookshelf here with my poetry, a little bit of travel, a little bit of religious stuff on it. I've not sorted it out, so how you get it is how it is, basically. We'll start off with said little bookshelf, and if there's obviously any, look, the nose shot there, if there's obviously any that you want me to go through, I will do. But on this top shelf here, we've got South Pole. These are my travel books, really. So these are all what about South Pole, Eiger Dreams, done that. Into the Wild by Krakauer. That's a fantastic book, fantastic story about a young man, Chris McCandless, very well documented, who decided he was going to travel. But that's not poetry. So on this other side, we've got Rilke, Letters to a Young Poet, Hitchhiking Across Japan, Voices in the Stones. They're not really poetry apart from that one, Rilke. It was big on the internet about a year ago. Everyone was on about Rilke. So I got that book and yeah, just read it. So starting proper afresh. On second shelf at little bookshelf, we've got love poetry, mainly English love poetry, and then we've got these 100 poems from the Chinese, another 100 poems, 100 more poems. So this is like a 3-bound collection by Kenneth Rexroth, who compiled this collection. 3. I love the pictures. I love these pictures on the front, like nice tree there and a branch. Love them. This is going to be quite Chinese heavy because I am into me Asian poetry, because it speaks to me more than English poetry. I don't know why, but I can just see it better. Penguin Book of Haiku. Poems of the late Tang, Tu Fu, and all them. Hunger Mountain by David Hinton. That's a collection of Chinese poetry. Really old Penguin Book of Chinese Verse. I'm just going to go through these really quick. If anybody wants more of them, put it in the comments. 3 Chinese poets, Li Bao, Du Fu, and I can't remember. Zen Poetry of Ryokan. 1 Robe, 1 Bowl. Gary Schneider, Mountains and Rivers Without End. I really enjoyed this. American Gary Schneider is an American poet. Turtle Island, Gary Schneider. Pulitzer Prize for Poetry, 1975. That was a good read. I enjoyed them. Classic Traditions of Haiku and an Anthology. Pilgrim of the Clouds. That's good. I enjoyed that. Ming Dynasty, China. David Bottom's Otherworld, Underworld and Prayer Poetry. I'm not religious, but we're not going to get into that. The poetry of it was all right, actually. Japanese death poems. So on your deathbed, the Zen monks would write a haiku, their death poem. And there's some absolute corkers in there. I really like that. With them being haiku, they're only short. Sounds of Water haiku. You can see where all of these are going. Poems of Wang Wei. Poetry of Zen. Love Poems of England. Get them in a dollop here. More Zen poetry. Master of the Three Ways. You'll find this translator coming up. Red Pine, Bill Porter. He was a monk in, I want to say, Taiwan, and he translated a lot of Buddhist sutras and poetry collections into English, and yeah, I quite like them. I quite like Bill Porter, his style of writing. Let's get some humorous poems. Not really me. Ted Hughes the Crow. This fella, Gil Scott Heron, he started, or was one of the earliest pioneers of like rap. I want to say rap, but you know, but he's best known as a poet as well, and he's got an absolutely fantastic one called The Vulture. It's on YouTube, where he's got a beat going on behind him, and he reads this poem, The Vulture. Fantastic. I really like Gil Scott-Heron, his poetry collection. And I didn't think I would. I'm not a big rap artist. Shakespeare, Hobbes, Wordsworth, Poems of the Underground, my mate got me that. And yeah, Robert Frost, The Collected Poems. Now, he's an American poet. Really liked his stuff. Really liked his stuff. The Heights of Machu Picchu by Pablo Neruda. And that's a collected poetry work. Mountain Poems of Meng Hao Jan, I think that's pronounced. There you go. Let's see what we've got here. We don't need to see that one. Basho, Narrow Road to the North. Love and Barley haiku poetry. Li Po and Tufu poetry classics. You can see where my pen's going, can't you? You don't need them, they're not poetry books. Fantastic Seamus Heaney's Beowulf. On one side of the page you've got the Old English, on the other side you've got I'm on my knees here. You've got Heaney's version, which, with him being Gaelic, with him being a poet, it is naturally poetic I'm just altering my tripod here, how he has translated the Beowulf story poem. And anyone that's not read it, don't be put off with it. Go for the Seamus Heaney version. Very accessible, very good read. You don't have to worry about it being thousands of years old. He does a really good translation. And my missus this week, I think it was Tuesday, she ordered it from me. We've got Beowulf 2nd edition, translated and edited by R.M. Louise. This is more of a academic text on the original Beowulf poem. I'm looking forward to reading that. My missus bought me it, got it sent Tuesday, so that's you know, I'm really pleased. She didn't want me to be too miserable this week. So we'll put all them back there. Oh, let me get up. So now we'll go through this. Should I just pull them off again? Or should I just run through it? 14 minutes. Let's just pull them off. Let's just pull them off, eh? Bit rude. Oh, tripod's falling. It's one of these little gilly ones. Right then. What's this one? Diamond Sutra by Red Pine, Bill Porter. Hermits of the Go Cliffs. That's a Tibetan mystic, but it has got some ancient Tibetan, what do you call them, like chants, poems. Good, I enjoyed that as well. Mountain Home, The Wilderness Poetry of Ancient China, translated by David Hinton. That's good, I enjoyed that. Because I love the mountains, that's where my bend is, you see. Too Late to Turn Back Now, Finn Wilcox. Written in Exile, The Poetry of Lu Sung Yang, translated by Red Pine, Bill Porter. There's some really good poems in this that I liked. The Clouds Should Know Me by Now, Buddhist Poet Monks of China. And that's translated by Red Pine and Mike O'Connor. They call him Red Pine, but it's Bill Porter. The Poetry of Wang Ying Wu, In Such Hard Times. That's not a poetry book. Awesome Nightfall, The Lifetimes and Poetry of Saigo. I forget how that's pronounced. Saigo. Y-O. There's some nice ones in that as well. Poems of a Mountain Home, translated by Burton Watson by Saigo as well. I do enjoy this dead geezer's poems. I'll just put them back quick, else my books will all fall over. That's the holding the side up. Let's have a look at that one. Where the World Does Not Follow, Buddhist China in Pictures and Poems. My wife bought me this book. It's black and white prints with a poem on them by famous Chinese monks. Fantastic. More of a coffee table book than stuck up in my loft. But anyway, that don't matter, does it? That don't matter. Let's keep winging through these. You don't need to see. So these are a set of books. That's the original one I got in America years ago when I was a young fella, my lad. Oh, this is turning out shit, in it. I can see. There. And obs. I've got Encounters with Cold Mountain. Gary Schneider's translations of Rip Rap and Cold Mountain poetry. And these were all, how this Han Shan did it, he carved on a tree a poem for the Buddhist monks at the local temple to come and find and read and ruminate on. So these are all on the outskirts of the temple, carved on trees. People have wrote them down and done it like that. So lastly, by Red Pine, translated The Collected Songs of Cold Mountain by Copper Canyon Press. Lovely edition. On one side you get the Chinese, on the other side you get the translation of it and notes as well, because obviously what they mean in their poems you can't take literally. There's notes on everything, meaning what means this means that, this means the other. And if you were going to go for Cold Mountain, this is the one that I'd recommend you getting. Brilliant copy. Let's have a look. Moon in a Dewdrop, writings of Zen Master Dogen. Oh, this is a good one. When I find you again, it will be in the mountains. Translated by Mike O'Connor. Selected poems of Chai Tao, Zen Buddhist monk. That's brilliant, that one. My bin's just gone. I'm waiting for some books. 2 Edgar Rice Burroughs books. The Spring of My Life and Selected Haiku by Kobayashi Aiza. Grief is a Thing with Feathers by Max Porter. Not for me. Crow with No Mouth by Ikkyu. A lot of these are from this company, Copper Canyon Press, in Washington State. I think it's Washington. We went there on a trip, but it was closed. Thankfully for my wife. The publishers, because they've got a load of all their books, you can visit them and buy books. So we didn't that holiday, but we went. Let's have another look what we've got. Isaiah's Best, a translator's selection of master haiku. Kobayashi Aiza. He's a Zen monk. I was going to say you'd have heard of him, but you don't have to have had, do you? Who's that one? I'm just going through these quickly because a lot of them are my, what do you call them? Buddhist books. Spiritual books. Modern Man in Search of a Soul, Carl Gustav Jung. That kind of book, you know. Self-help, enlightenment. Violence and Compassion, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, hardback. I don't normally buy hardbacks. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Keep going. Diddly-doo-doo-doo. The Unfettered Mind, that's a Japanese book. Not so much poetry, it's writings of a Zen master and a sword master. So a samurai, if you like, and the converse between the two. And some of them, there are haiku in it, Very good, very good. Zen flesh, zen bones. Let's Shurikido, Names and Rivers. Translations from the Japanese by Tomoriyuki Endo and Forrest Gander. This is more modern like Japanese free verse. Yeah, free verse. All right, not really me. That's that. I've got these actually. I'll just show you these while we're up here. Hey, Beginner's Mind, Zen Mind, Shunri Suzuki. Branching stream that flows in the darkness, Shunri Suzuki. Not always so. 3 books by the Zen master that went to America, Los Angeles or San Francisco, one of them, and built up one of the big Zen Buddhist, what do you call them, community, for want of a better word. 100 poets, 1 poem each. The treasury of classical Japanese verse. Penguin edition. That's quite a good book actually. Can recommend that for someone starting out in Japanese verse. Gives you a good overview, if you like. Oh, Henry Herbert Nibs, Songs of the Outlands. Ballads of the Hobos and Other Verse. In Edgar Rice Burroughs, The Mucker, Return of the Mucker, and what's the third one of the series? Can't remember. The third one of that series, Henry Herbert Nibs' poetry's in that. One Poetry Thursday I will read from said book. In fact, let me just go get it. I'm stopping it here. So we're back again. Edgar Rice Burroughs, The Oakdale Affair. The beautiful young daughter of a wealthy family is robbed of her money and jewels, and she herself disappears. In this is poetry by Henry Herbert Nibs. My wife got me that because she knows I'm an anorak. That's a big black bear chained up coming down some steps. Massive big grizzly bear. Ooh. Sidetracking, I had a friend who was taking young kids on Camp Buna Camp, and they walked up that's in America, up in the mountains, and I believe him, he made them brush the teeth, spit the globs miles away from the tent. One girl, she didn't walk far enough and she just come out this like a cave that was all kipping in, and spat out all toothpaste at the front of the entrance of the cave. There was all camping in the cave. They made a big fire. That night when the fire died down, he was woke up by a big black bear. I mean, they're not massive either, but you wouldn't want to poke one in the eye. And it was licking the toothpaste off the floor. And he says he very nearly pissed himself. But luckily, It licked up all the toothpaste and Hoffman's into the California woods. Oh dear. You would absolutely cack your pants, wouldn't you? Because they're not little creatures. We've seen them. We've seen them. What's this one? Muso Soseki, Sun at Midnight. Poems and letters translated by W.S. Merrin. Mainly about what they see around the Zen temples and the rock gardens and stuff like that. All worries and troubles have gone from my breast, and I play joyfully far from the world. For a person of Zen, no limits exist. The blue sky must feel ashamed to be so small. Boom. Jim Harrison, after IQ and other poems. I can't remember who it was that went to Japan with Jack Kerouac, the Dharma Bums and all them. One of them was a bit of a poet and he went to Japan. It could be one of the first guys, Gary Schneider, but I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Hey, don't shoot me. Let's have another look. Tao Chen, selected poems of the Sung Dynasty. Mountain poems of Xingling Yu. Moment to Moment, poems of a mountain recluse, translated by David Budbill. That's quite good. I did enjoy the ones in this book. This is a good one. Guide to Capturing a Plum Blossom, Sung Po Jen, translated by Red Pine. And once again, you get the Chinese and you get the English translation and notes. Whopper. Poems of the Masters, China's classical anthology of Tang and Sung Dynasty verse, translated by Red Pine. That's not a poetry book. This isn't a poetry book, but he's a Russian who, to escape persecution, went to America. Nicholas Roerich. But he was also a painter, a diarist, a thinker, everything. And he is one of my favourite painters. Roerich has got a gallery in New York, and his Himalayan paintings are spectacular. One of my favourite ones. The colours that he's got are just brilliant. That was a sidetrack. I'm easily sidetracked, you know that by now. Where are we up to here? Dancing with the Dead, the essential Red Pine Translations of Poetry. That's the geezer on back, look. I had a whopper of a beard. Used to come down to about here during COVID. Got me out of kissing the wife. Let's have a look. The Silk Dragon 2, translation of Chinese author, Chinese poetry by Arthur Zhu. Quite modern take on him. Good. Not as good as some of the other ones that I've got. Let's have a look, let's have a look. That's not. I've got a big book of this is the last one. Bukowski. The Pleasures of the Damned. Poems 1951 to 1993. The definitive volume of Bukowski's poems. New York Times. There we have it, folks. There we have it. That's my poetry maps, because everyone uses Google Maps now, don't they? They've forgotten how to actually read a map. Anyway, in guidebooks, travel writing, poetry, up in the loft with a bookshelf review, jerry rig lighting. Just going to put this Oakdale affair back. That goes just there. We have got some new additions, look. Can't beat a bit of Edgar. Anyway, folks, next week I will do a Poetry Thursday. And hope you're all having a good week. Stay safe, stay gorgeous, and I've got some book tags to do. See you all soon. Ta-da.